you be sworn in? You promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Excellent. And for the record, would you state your name and your address, please?
Kurt Peterson, 4511 Carthage Court, Crystal Lake, Illinois.
And I am the hearing officer, and we are here on your petition for today. And the applicant is the Peterson Land Trust, the owner of record, Curtis P. Peterson. The request is a variation in the E1 Estate District to allow an 8-foot solid fence instead of the maximum 6 feet allowed along the west property line, and a 0-foot setback along the west property line instead of the minimum 10 feet required for a shed. The subject property consists of 1.34 acres and is located on the east side of Illinois Route 31 and the west side of Carthage Court, approximately 300 feet northwest of the intersection of Carthage Court and Ripon Road. Common or street address is 4511 Carthage Court, Crystal Lake, Illinois, Township of Nunda. Tax or PIN would be 1427401-003. Current land use designation, single-family residential. That same single-family residential would be on the adjacent land use to the north, south, east, and west. The current zoning is E1 Estate District, and it would be E1 Estate District to the north, south, east, and to the west would be A1 Agricultural. 2030 plan calls for residential. Properties improved with a 2-story frame residence, shed, wood deck, brick patio, walkways, asphalt driveway. There are no wetlands on the property, and the Department of Transportation is requiring 44 feet on the west side of the property for a road right away. There is a pending building permit, K5582, for a 6-foot solid fence, and the applicant would now want to modify that to a height of 8 feet. Can you tell me why you're here and what you hope to do?
Yes, I'm basically here for a sound deadening issue on 31 since they're going to widen it to 4 lanes, and I'm just trying to get the maximum amount of quietness I can possibly get since the state is not going to pay for any of that and they're taking away all these trees. So I don't want to look at it and I don't want to hear it to the least amount as possible.
When I'm behind your property and I'm heading north on 31, there is a bit of a, I don't know, a cliff, a hillside.
Yes.
And how is that going to change, if at all, when they dig into it?
They're grading, they're assuming what I'm getting out of this is that they're grading, they're going to change the grading of the whole issue also. So that they're going to straighten it out and not make it as steep as it is. How they're going to do it, I don't know, but they're changing the grading already of that. So that's what I'm worried about also.
And have you talked to your neighbors about what you're hoping to do?
Yes.
And what have they said?
They're all for it. They're all, you know, that might be helping us a little bit from the sound too. And a few of them were inquiring now that they wished I would have informed them earlier because we would have went all together for a variance, you know. So some others are starting to get a taste of that now and looking into.
And the area that you want to put the fence, that'll simply be along the west property line, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's it.
And obviously there's going to be Route 31 behind you, and that's not going to interfere with any buildings to the west, not going to have any problems?
None whatsoever.
Okay. And Kim, what's the attitude about staff?
Staff completely understands the situation, and after being out there on site, I can hear what the sound is like from the property, so it is understandable that even more traffic and being closer to the house, that he would want to have that barrier up.
All right, and I have to ask you, what do you do with that shed? It looks like a nice shed you've got there.
That holds a little Kubota tractor inside it, and that's what's going to be used to be digging, if this goes through, the post holes for the fence. I've been in the trades all my life, so
It just looked like an awfully nice shed.
Yes, now that you brought that up, if you notice the roof line in the shed matches the roof line of the house. That was very important on the pitching and all that. So cosmetic appearances are quite important to us in our property.
And your neighbors across the street and your neighbors, when I'm facing your house to the right, they also have sheds in their yard, do they not?
Yes, I think they do. The one nice thing about that area is that we wave at each other and that's about it, so.
Okay. In my neighborhood, people don't even wave to me, so you have a much nicer neighborhood. That's why I'm moving.
Well, I think that's basically because now the older gens, my gens and that, are slowly disappearing and now it's more families and kids involved than it was before.
And I noticed you did have the signage posted.
I love that sign, yes.
Does staff have anything else that they wish to say?
The only thing I wanted to mention on the record, I did speak with Mr. Peterson before the hearing. If you take a look at the septic design layout that I pulled here, it does appear that a portion of the septic field may encroach into the new proposed right-of-way. He was not aware of that previously, so that is something that he's going to have to look into with his attorney and possibly the health department to confirm if that is accurate. It may affect the septic location when they do that widening, but it does not affect the variances or anything today, so we don't have any objection to what is being requested.
Okay. Are you planning on doing the fencing now, or when did you intend to start that?
Since I pulled the six-foot permit already, once I get green lighted to do this, yeah, if the weather is consistent, a little bit here and there, I'll be starting on it before winter breaks and I can't get into the ground anymore, yes.
Have you already settled with the state on the property that they're taking?
Well, yes and no. That basically came out to a dollar sign. We didn't sign off on that as of yet because they had issues. If you notice that one picture to the right over there, they were butted right up against the property line, was butted right up to the shed, is what they're taking. So that red flag there is where they were coming to. And if you notice the overhang above it, that encroaches on their area, so that was something that they had to go back and say, well, we'll butt back 2 feet so that that's not going to be part of it. So are we signed off on them? Not 100% no.
Okay, but considering that it might cause a septic issue, you would seem to want to include that.
Oh yes, definitely. And I contacted the lawyer this morning. She brought it up. Well, thank you for that. And yes, as soon as he gets to me, that was something that was not brought up at this point as of yet.
We do have some standards that we have to cover. You did address those in your petition. I would ask you to take a look at that, but I will try to ask them in a way that the answer should be somewhat obvious.
Do you have to read all this?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You have to say yes every time I read it.
Yes, I know. I feel sorry for you reading all this, but yes.
Isn't it true that the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon you, the owner, as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Good answer. Is it also true that the conditions upon which the application for a variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it true that the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property? Isn't that true?
Yes.
You're really hoping to shield yourself from the anticipated increased noise from Route 31 when it's been expanded, correct?
Yes.
Is it also true that the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by any person presently having an interest in the property? Isn't that true?
Yes.
The hardship is really caused by the state doing a taking of your property, correct?
And destruction, yes.
Is it also true that the granting of the variation will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, or substantially increase the congestion in the public streets, or increase the danger of fire, or endanger the public safety, or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhood? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the granting of the variation requested will not confer on you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure of the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
If your neighbors were confronted with the same situation and made a similar request, would you think that their request should also be granted?
Yes.
Okay, I have nothing else. This is obviously a very straightforward, simple request. I would be in favor of it. Understand that mine is simply a recommendation. This goes to the county board. They will vote on this.
December 17th.
You do not have to attend. You can if you wish to. You, in all likelihood, will be on what they call the consent agenda, and they will simply vote on a number of items, kind of a yes or no, and probably not subject to debate. If you wish to attend, you have every right to do so.
Yes, I understand.
And because I'm approving your request, that means you need a simple majority of the county board members in attendance at that meeting. Had I denied your request, you would have needed 75%, but it should be granted.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right, thank you. One quick question. When legally can I put holes in the ground if I want to start with this? Once I have to go through the state, so I
Well,
gotta hang on to that for a while.
The permit's issued for a 6-foot fence.
Right.
So you